Well, good evening, my dark-hearted darklings. This is Salem Ash, and tonight I've brought you a story that lives between floors, behind locked doors, and just beneath your skin. A tale of twisted space, haunting echoes, and a secret that should never be found. Turn the light down low, but not all the way. You may just want to see what's behind you. This is The Third Floor Doesn't Exist. Claire was tired of noise. That was the main reason she moved to Kingsport, a little seaside town in New England, known more for its foggy harbors and antique shops than any real tourist attractions. After living in Boston for 10 years, the quiet called to her like a lullaby. And when she saw the listing for the apartment, a historic Victorian building with creaky floors, tall windows, and ivy growing up its sides, well, it felt like fate. The landlord, a woman named Miss Harlow, was sharp-featured and stiffly polite. She handed Claire the keys with a warning. "Only 2 floors, dear. Tenants on the first, you on the second. The attic's been sealed for decades. There is no 3rd floor." Claire had laughed. Wasn't planning on climbing into any crawl spaces. She should have listened more carefully. From the beginning, things felt off. Not terrifying, just strange. At night, when the wind howled through the narrow alleys, Claire often heard footsteps above her. She tried to convince herself it was pipes or old wood settling, but the pattern was too distinct. Footsteps, pacing, sometimes pausing, like someone listening. She mentioned it to the downstairs tenant, an elderly man named Frank, who fed the crows and never blinked enough. "You hearing things already?" he asked, peering at her with watery eyes. "That's how it starts." Claire laughed awkwardly, but Frank didn't join her. The real trouble began on the 7th night. Claire woke up just before 3 a.m. to the sound of creaking above her bed. Slowly, deliberately, someone walked across the ceiling. Heart pounding, she tiptoed to the hallway. That's when she noticed it. A thin draft, like a breath of cold air, coming from the end of the hallway where the ceiling should have been solid. But it wasn't. There was a narrow door she hadn't seen before. Old, wooden, the paint chipped and peeling, and below it, a staircase. Impossible. She'd walked this hallway a dozen times. The wall had always been blank. She turned on the lights. Poof, the door was gone. The next morning, she searched the whole area again. Nothing. Just the wall. Now, Claire couldn't shake the feeling that something wanted her to go upstairs. So that night, she tried an experiment. She turned off all the lights, she lit a single candle, and she walked the hallway again. The door appeared, and this time it opened. The staircase beyond it was narrow, warped by time, and it smelled of damp wood and mildew. The candle flickered violently in her hand as she climbed. The third floor shouldn't exist, but it did. At the top of the stairs, she found a hallway of closed doors. Everything looked too perfect, as if it had been staged. A child's bedroom with dustless toys, a sitting room with a still burning fireplace, a kitchen where something bubbled on the stove, but there was no heat, there was no sound, just static silence. And mirrors, too many mirrors everywhere. One even stood at the end of the hallway, tall and framed in iron. In it, she saw herself, but not quite. Her reflection was smiling, but she wasn't. The next thing she remembered was waking up in her bed, clutching the candle stub in her hand. Her feet were dirty with soot and splinters. She called Mrs. Harrow immediately. "I told you there is no third floor," the old woman said sharply. "Don't go back. No one ever comes back right." Well, as you can imagine, Claire didn't sleep that night. Instead, she waited. At 3 a.m., the ceiling creaked again. She lit her candle, and the door appeared. This time, when she climbed the stairs, her reflection waited for her at the top, dressed in the same clothes, eyes full of something ancient and hungry. It spoke with her voice. "You came back. Good. I'm so tired of waiting." Claire ran. What would you do? Tell me. Would you stand there and talk back, or would you run? Tell me in the comments. I think I already know. She moved out the next day, breaking her lease and leaving half of her belongings behind. I hate when that happens. But she didn't leave unscathed. She had bruises she couldn't explain, dreams she couldn't forget, and sometimes, while brushing her teeth, her reflection didn't quite follow her movements. But it got worse. Claire began noticing little things. First, her phone's front-facing camera would glitch, showing two faces instead of one. The shadows in her apartment didn't match her silhouette. In one terrifying moment, she watched herself blink on a paused video. Her reflection blinked. She didn't. Then came the message, scribbled across her mirror in lipstick that she hadn't worn in years. It said, "We share everything now." What would you do there, seriously? Well, she smashed every mirror in her apartment, covered the windows, and started sleeping during the day. But nothing helped, because something came back with her. The building sits empty now. Neighbors cross the street just to avoid walking past it. Teens, they dare each other to knock on the front door, but they never do it twice. Because at night, if you stand very still and listen closely, you can hear footsteps above the second floor. And sometimes, if you bring a candle, you'll find the third floor's waiting for you. But you won't come back alone. Thank you for wandering the shadows with me, darklings. Next time you hear something in the attic, maybe don't follow. If this story left you breathless or just a little unnerved, subscribe for more tales from the void. I'm Salem Ash, and I'll be right here behind the walls, waiting.